You read that it failed. Ignore my glitter packaging. I come packing crafting.
Hello, and thank you so much for joining me here on SewStitchHex. I'm Macadamia, and today we're going to be doing a review of Volume 1 of the Apothecary Diaries, which is super cute, very detailed. It gives me a vibe like Yano of the Dawn or Snow White with the red hair. Like, that's the vibe. That's the fit. Super cute. We have our main character here. And on the cover, it's just a picture of her with some herbs. It has the list of everyone involved in the project. Story by Natsu, Hyuuga. Art by Neko Kurage. Compiled by Itsuki Nanao. Character design by Toko Shino. I don't think I got the last one right, but I tried, and that's what counts. The great detective of the inner palace is born. It's because she's super smart. Mamao, a young, which I love her name. I'm probably saying it wrong, but as it is written and the way I think it's pronounced, it sounds like meow meow. So, Mamao, a young woman trained in the art of herbal medicine, is forced to work as a lowly servant in the inner palace. Though she yearns for life outside its perfumed halls, she isn't long for a life of drudgery. Using her wits to break a curse afflicting the imperial heirs, Mamao attracts the attention of the beautiful Jinchi and is promoted to attendant food taster. But Jinchi has other plans for the erstwhile apothecary, and soon Mamao is back to brewing potions and solving mysteries. And this is Jinchi. He is like an extremely handsome man. In here, he's so handsome, you just put a little rouge on and change his clothes, woman would never know. And that's what the joke is, kind of. It's not really a joke. Mamao was constantly saying, like, he could seduce any man or woman. He is the most beautiful person here. No one can compete with his beauty. If that was a woman because she came from the red district. She's like, if that was a woman, they would have bought themselves out by now. They would have been done out of the business. They're so beautiful. They would be in such high demand. And I just find it funny because it's like a constant joke. And Mamao gives off like Ace vibes because she's not really interested. And I don't know if it's just because she's more interested in reading and intelligence, or if she's just genuinely asexual. Because she does seem to be just not really, like, she'll comment on it, but she's not very attracted. Or at least she's not as sexually driven as other protagonists might have been. And I appreciate that. I want some ace represent. But, so, here she is. She was caught out in the woods collecting herbs because her and her father are apothecaries, and she gets captured and sold to the servant as a lowly maid. And so she's there just doing her job, and she realizes, like, what's going on, because the emperor has, like, or the lord or whatever has, like, a bunch of consorts. Like, there's consort Lihu? I'm not sure. I think I'm saying it wrong. And consort Gyo. I'm not sure I don't know how to say it. Either way, you have these two beautiful consorts, and they're each supposed to bear an heir because they want to have a son to take over. That's typically what the consort's going to do, and that's what the heir is going to do. But they're both the children are sick, and they can't figure out why. And so our main gal goes and is like, you know, we had a similar problem based off of the symptoms. I think I know what it is. Oh, but I can't tell him. It's just conjecture on my part. It can't be true. It can't be true. So she secretly writes a note. And no one else in the palace, like none of the servants can write. So they figure it out really easily. Because she writes, the face powder is poisoned. don't get it near the children. As soon as they stopped, they were a little late for the son. The son's dead. But the other child, I think it was the son. It might have been the daughter. Either way, they were a little late and one of the children passes away. But after they get it away, then they're good. There is some issue with someone still using the face powder even though they shouldn't. And it's because they want to look beautiful. But it's like, bro, you're going to die. Stop. And they get in trouble, and so does anyone who brought them the face powder. And they're like, please don't kill people. They didn't know. But also, like, it's the equivalent of using face powder with lead. Like, stop. Well, Jinshi's like, whoever did this is super smart. Either they know something, or they're just super intelligent. So I need to know. So Jinshi shows up looking fine. So cute. Shows up and holds up a letter that's like, you with the freckles. Remain here. And she's the only one that can read. So everyone else leaves, and then she realizes, shit, I should have just pretended. And she tries to walk out. He's like, hey, I know you read that. I told you to stay right here. Got me. Got him. Because it took her realizing no one else in this room can read. Crap. Got me. And it was just brilliant. But they realize that she's been trained as an apothecary. And so they thank her, of course, for saving her. And it's like, I've done nothing to warrant my lady humbling herself. That isn't so. A bow does not even begin to convey the depth of my gratitude to you. You are the one who saved my daughter's life. I'm right, it was the boy that died. And she's such a sweetie. She gets picked on a little bit, but she's such a sweetie. Like, of the consorts, I really like her. I think she's actually genuine. And that's something. But she's like, I believe my lady might be mistaking me for another. There appears to have been some kind of misunderstanding. And she's like, Consort Gyokyu entrusted a certain something into my care, you see. Ah, here we are. The face powder is poison. Do not expose your baby to it. Does this cloth look to you like it's from a maid servant's uniform? Could be. Now that you mention it, indeed. It belongs to the uniform of Sheng Fu maid. Your skirt wouldn't happen to be missing a piece, would it? It's the wardrobe services such as laundry, which is where she's at. She's in the lowest, like, entry-level maid because she was kidnapped and sold. And so even though she's getting paid, she's getting less because they're getting paid too. Which she talks about. She's like, there are many courtesans who use the same in the pleasure district where I once lived. Most of them ultimately lost their lives to the poison in this stuff, which ate away at them until there was nothing left. I just happened to see firsthand the fate that awaited the courtesans who refused to stop wearing the powder. She was like, I was once an apothecary, you see, so, what would my lady have me do now? She's resigned to her fate. Like, you really think someone's gonna hurt you? You just saved the future heir. Like, the only child that's, like, vibing. The one that didn't get sick. The one that didn't pass away. Like, come on. She's like, well, in this case, from this day forth, you'll be my new lady-in-waiting. Isn't she just precious? Like, so cute. Love her. And so she's like, well, I guess you might say I've gotten myself a promotion. So, going into chapter 2, she's now the lady-in-waiting, and she becomes the food taster. And she tests the food to make sure it's not poison. However, she is like, there's nothing wrong with it. And she's like, I believe that's safe for everyone to eat. And they're like, So she's like, there's no point of a food taster for slow-acting poisons, which is most likely what someone would do so they wouldn't get caught. When I still lived at home, I'd always been experimenting by testing various things on my arm. So she has horrible trigger warning. It's going to take like a half a second. But she's got like cuts all over her arm and stuff. It's trigger warning because technically it is self-harm. But like it's her doing what you would do if you were a doctor or someone testing out poisons or other like cures before they decided to test on subjects that have you're not going to volunteer back in the day necessarily. But yeah, so she's covered in those. And she's like, but in a way, I lucked out with this job assignment because she absolutely loves all the food she's getting. And she slowly built up a tolerance to poison. So this is like the perfect work for her. And she gets so happy for it. She is telling them, like, make sure you use silver because it's going to help detect poisons. And they're like, well, here's a raise. And she's like, oh my God. So now she can send money back home. She can actually save up to go visit home for a day because you get special permission and have an escort and you can leave. Because everyone else is trapped there. Like, you've been sold here. This is your life now. But, like, she's got in a luxurious position. She's good. And so she does trade in some favors. But Jinchi, the super cute guy, wants to use her for, like, various, like, things. Because he's seen firsthand how intelligent she is. She discovered just from a rumor of the symptoms what was killing the consorts and their children. So he comes up to her and he's like, I received these from a soldier. Might I ask you to taste them for me? Bowsy, huh? I said that wrong, I know. But it's buns. It's buns. She's like, these contain an aphrodisiac. You can tell even without tasting them. These are harmless, so please enjoy them in private. I can't simply eat these considering who gave them to me. Indeed. I dare say you can expect a visit from him tonight. Yeah, like I said, he attracts literally everyone. They are such a beautiful man. They attract men, women, doesn't matter. Questioning. They're there. They're beating down the door. They don't care what's going on. They just want in their pants. And they're such a cutie. I think they look precious. I just want to see them dressed up in, like, all the finest of things. Because they are so cute, I will say. And paired with his very seductive kind of attitude, paired with her completely anonymous, I'm here for the plants, love it, vibe. She's like, can I task you with making an aphrodisiac for me? And she's like, with ample time, the right tools, and the necessary ingredients, I can fulfill your request. Like, I'm a badass, I can do anything. Duh. So he gives her access to the most ultimate of herb collection, which he's been collecting around anyway. But he takes her in here and she literally loses her absolute mind because there's every kind of herb imaginable. Things she's only heard of. Things she's never heard of. Things that she's only dreamed of. And she's just having a time. After using wood tablets for so long, having such an abundance of paper to write on feels like a luxury. She's just reveling in her new position, her new, like, everything. So she gets in here and she's like, sorry to ask, but would you mind getting down that from the top shelf? And she's like, this is the absolute easiest job ever. She ends up using cacao, chocolate to make some, like, bomb plants. And she gets to eat as much as she wants because she has a higher tolerance. So she does make the aphrodisiac for him, which was kind of questionable why it was made. But then she takes the leftovers and makes a extremely potent, like, black sweetbread with alcohol and other stimulants. Because, as she says, she's built up a tolerance. And so this was made... as she said, alcohol can be categorized as a type of medicine. The more insensitive a person is to a particular drug, the greater its impact. Even this bread, which qualifies in an aphrodisiac here, would have little effect on the people where cacao comes from, I should think. So I would probably be alright if I ate it then. I do drink alcohol after all. Don't even think about it. Says literally everyone in the room, because even they know he is super cute. And what would you do if that came at you? That gorgeous man. She was like, I'm sure it would be enough to make anyone lose their head, man or woman. Oh my. Because he's just so cute. And making blushy people and coming on to somebody. No one's going to know how to function. And by looking at him, even though he is a higher ranking official, he is, as everyone comments, and I've even stated, such an attractive looking male. I can't wait until they reveal, like, what his background is. Because he has to be of a higher status to have such nice, like, fine breeding and genetics going on. Just in the story, I know. He has to be from a nice family. He has to. That's the only reason they would comment on their beauty so much, is if they were really from a nicer family. only way. Because otherwise, why would they talk about it, realistically? So they end up going, and he tries to seduce her, but she's not really having it, and that seems to be the vibe. She's like, you enjoy yourself as long as no one gets hurt. And then they continue to have her for trying to treat ailments. Like, there was another consort who was supposed to get with the emperor or whatever, but they didn't. And they just started acting cray. Like, going up onto this tall wall way up in the air and just kind of acting out and then not remembering it before. A princess who in a month's time will be gifted to an army officer in reward for his distinguished service. And they want to see what's wrong with her because they don't know why she's doing this. And so, basically, breaking it down, they're like, the courtesan herself had no recollection of the previous night's events. After the talks of her freedom broke off, she ceased her nightly wandering. I wonder if that means she didn't want her freedom to be bought. The man who made the proposition owned a large store, but he already had a wife and children, and even grandchildren. Many of her episodes occurred after she grew extremely agitated, so I made her both medicine and incense to calm her, but they just gave her a little peace of mind. They weren't actual cures. You don't say. In the end, with no other offers to buy her freedom, the courtesan concluded her terms of service, and that was that. Truly now, yes. Are you sure? And so, basically, they're like, will you promise not to tell anyone? She says to the other courtesan. She's like, in addition to the courtesan I mentioned before, there was another who suffered from sleepwalking and similarly had negotiations for her freedom fall through. As it turned out, however, the courtesan later went up with a second offer for her freedom. The madam there, I cannot bear the idea of allowing you to take on an ill courtesan, turned him down. However, the man persisted. Eventually, they agreed on a price of half the silver from the original agreement, but it was all a ruse. The first man who had tried to buy her freedom was an acquaintance of the second. It's giving Memoirs of a Geisha the movie. The woman feigned illness to nullify the initial offer, and then the man to whom she truly wanted her freedom sold was able to buy it for half the price. A bargain. The courtesan was bound to the terms of her contract, while the man's hands were tied by the lack of silver. So you mean to say Lady Hyuuga is pretending with the same intent? As I said, this is just my guess. A mere soldier is in no position to ask for a princess's hand in marriage. So the plan was to accumulate merits for his military feats, before eventually returning to make the princess his. But the princess was sent to the inner court. Having likewise given her heart to the soldier, the princess, an adept dancer, purposely erred. To cause the emperor to lose interest in her. Their plot was a success. The emperor did not lie with the princess, and her chastity remains intact. The soldier, meanwhile, made a name for himself, and when it was decided she was to be his, Lady Hyuuga began her strange nightly rambles, so none would deflower her, even by mistake. And so the emperor wouldn't care that she wouldn't be his any longer. I could see that happening, knowing what the emperor is like. There is, after all, a chance that the lusty emperor might regain interest in a princess so coveted by one of his men. If she were to spend a night with the emperor, her reunion with the soldier as his reward would be postponed. Since Lady Hyuuga values her purity, she surely would feel too ashamed to face her childhood love if the emperor were to take that away. The emperor only calls on consort Gikyu every few days, but it's not just courtly duties that keep an emperor away. His imperial majesty also has a duty to father multiple heirs. That night, she looked exceptionally beautiful. I wonder, now I get it, that exquisite appearance, it's because she's in love. If love has the power to make women more beautiful, I wonder what else it could cure. And so, basically, she gets to try and Nancy drew her way through a couple basic little mysteries. And some of them are very technical, like needing to figure out that it's the face paint that is murdering everybody. or making a simple recipe of a very strong alcoholic aphrodisiac with chocolate, which just sounds so good. I wish. I'm so jelly. That sounds delish. I love a chocolate liqueur. Ah. But then there's also trying to decide without having all of the necessary clues or having all the answers, trying to decipher why someone is acting a certain way. And in this instance, she kind of works it out, but she talks it through with one of the courtesans, the only one that we're able to trust right now, because we can't really necessarily trust the one that's been screaming at everyone because she's not very nice, and I don't think you want to trust the one screaming at you. She might get you beheaded or something crazy. Like, let's be honest. So, book 1, very good. It establishes our character as smart, capable, resourceful, and pretty decent at blending in for the most part, even though she gave herself away because she was too smart and didn't think about what was going on before it was too late. Highly recommend this series. It's absolutely beautifully illustrated. It's very intelligent. It's got a great cast of characters with a variety of personalities, and our main character is so cute, and I love the focus on plants. That's what really got me into Snow White with the red hair, because I also love plants. I may not know everything about plants, but I know about my favorites, and this is just such a vibe. So I highly recommend. If you have read it, please let me know down in the comments below. If you haven't, let me know if you want to, or if you intend to. I will try to put a link down in the description box below. And please let me know what interested about you, or if you don't want to read it, why? What turned you off about this book? All right. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a wicked evening. Bye. The